Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. Today we want to take a look at how you guys can farm, can do war attacks the best when your king is under construction and you can't use it. You know, in Clash of Clans you can't use heroes which are upgrading, and I want to show you today what are the best armies to attack with when your king is under construction. The first army we want to take a look at is going to be Electron. In my opinion, you won't really need the king in an army like this. And overall, when you don't have the king, you want to attack really powerful armies itself. Where the king or even the queen is just playing a supportive role, you just try to support your main army, and Lalo itself is super strong if you can execute it. This army is, in my opinion, the strongest, and at the same time, for me personally, it makes the most fun. So this is for sure my number one spot. So let's take a look at what you have to do with your queen. And actually, your queen is kind of nice, but you can pretty much place her anywhere. It's all about the Lalo pathing and all about that you get the slammer next to the queen. Because in your own slammer, you have 2 loons and Electro Dragon in there. If you're town 11, for example, you can use 1 loon and Electro Dragon. That's totally up for the town hall level. This strategy is working on any town hall level pretty much for town hall 10, 11 and town 12. And then you can just start off with the Lalo. As soon as you have air defenses next to the town hall for town 12, you can easily activate the town hall with your pups, which are exploding on top of the air defenses, and get your Electro Dragon next to the enemy queen, and you won't have any problem at all. The next thing to do is use the Warden ability. Hope for your Warden not doing stupid stuff like my Warden is doing, and then just rage your troops through the core, and you can clone whatever you want. Normally in Electron you use the clone spell for the loons which are in the slammer as well, just to like get a tanky group around your dragon, your Electro Dragon, so your Electro Dragon isn't dying too quickly. For me, that wasn't really needed because we started the Lalo really early, and this is still being a really huge overkill, even though we lost so many loons to the Giga Bomb. And you guys can see this base was, I think it was really maxed out, so you can triple nearly any base, especially when you're normally farming. I think most of you guys are farming in Titans, maybe a little bit lower, but you can triple pretty much any base out there, especially when you don't have to face maybe even enemy heroes, enemy clan casts and stuff like this. So this is for sure my number one spot if your king, which is still my army, like in my army down here and not placed. If you have your king under construction, this is my number one army for you guys, but we have still 2 armies to go, so let's check them out. The second army on my list is basically as strong as the first one, and it's, I think, maybe only just depending on what is your personal favorite. Like, do you prefer doing ground attacks or do you prefer doing air attacks? I think both of those strategies are super strong and everyone can use it. So what is the key for this one? It's Pekka Smash. I already highlighted this strategy on my channel, but let's break it down once again. So you want to do a queen walk, you can do a warden walk as well, that's totally up to you, but you don't need the king for that. Like I said in the first attack, the king is mainly, in most of the attacks, just as supportive troops. For example, if you're doing queen charges, the king nearly always is just used as a funnel troop, so it's once again only for support, which means the king isn't as important as most people think, so you can do pretty much most of the army still without your king. So let's take a look at Pekka Smash and how you guys do it. Actually, you would just do it like you would do it without a king. You can funnel with your Pekka if needed on this base. I didn't even really need to funnel. Still, one Pekka is splitting up and will run on the outside. Meanwhile, the main push of my troops are going into the core with the Warden ability taking that out really easily. And then we have all of those stupid single firm towers which are wreaking havoc, which are wrecking my Pekka. So, but if you take a look at my Pekka, which are on the right side, because they sadly now split up with my bowlers, but this doesn't really matter. Like, if you would think, okay, the space is not maxed or whatever, just take a look at how many Pekka are still alive. We have 1 on the outside, we have 3 in the core, and we started off with overall 4 Pekka on our own. So we didn't even lose one of our own Pekka yet. It's crazy. Obviously, the enemy queen is taking out my loons, but still, we have all of our Pekka still alive. We have our queen still alive. We haven't used her ability yet, and we still have our king in our army camps, and he is still under construction. So this is going to be the second army for this top 3, and this means we have one army to go. And then I will show all of the armies once again together with the different CCs and siege machines. The last attack strategy is basically the most spammy one and the one which is the most simple one. It's mass miners. Mass miners, well, normally you try to use those spammy troops not when you have your king or your queen under construction, because what you normally try to do is use your queen on one of the sides and the king on the other, and then you can funnel straight through the core into the back end of the base with your miners. That's what you normally try to do, but on this one it's basically the same, but you need the slammer for the funnel on the other side. So let's take a look at what we are doing with our queen. We once again just try to funnel for our miners, and for this I'm always bringing an ice golem as well, because I don't know, I'm a fan of the ice golem. I like it a lot to use, especially just as a small tank for my queen. It's really useful, so I'm a huge fan of that. And my queen is just trying to take out as much as possible. Meanwhile, let's try to take a look at the left side. I tried to bring the slammer like this part into the base, so I can start with my miners, and they get like pretty much, I don't know, like guided into the town hall, because the left side is already down. But well, you can't really, you never know what the slammer is doing, because this slammer is thinking that from this direction to this direction is not as close as to this direction. So I don't know what the slammer was thinking, but the slammer from at this point is pretty much swag, sadly. So we somehow have to find another way. But still, we have our plan and we will stick to our plan, which means let's just spam the miners. And that's the thing where I think that this army is ready to shine, because it's so simple. Like, if you just want to do an attack really quickly, just to get some loot in, whatever, this army is perfect for it. For most of the other armies, you actually have to like think at least a little bit about the approach for a base. But with mass miners, just spam them in. Like, most of the time you get around 70 to 80% at least. And if it's working really good, then you could even get the triple. I'm bringing 2 poison spell because the reason for that is that if there's a dragon in the enemy CC, then you can kill it. Otherwise, with only 1 poison, this isn't possible. But in the end, it means it's up to you. If you're not facing any dragons, you can get rid of the poison and of the freeze, and this means you can add 1 more heal spell to your army. This is really strong as well, but that's once again up to you guys and what you're facing. I'm right now in Legend League and doing those test attacks over there, which means the enemy CC is always full. The enemy has always his heroes up, and this might not always be the case if you're farming in maybe Titans or below. So this is going to be the mass miner attack, and this is going to be all of the loot down for us, and this means we have highlighted all of our armies, which means let's take a look at all 3 armies together and rank them and explain why which one is the best. Okay, those 3 are the armies, and right now they're not in any order whatsoever, but let's rank them. I think Pekka Smash and Electron are at the same level. I personally like Electron more, that's why it's on my list on number 1, and Pekka Smash at number 2. Mass Miner is in my opinion number 3, because it's not as strong and it's kind of risky sometimes, but if you're just AFK farming, like just spam your troops in and get to the next attack kinda, then the attack might be perfect for you. And once again, you can replace those miners with, for example, dragons or electro dragons, which are pretty similar to the miner style, because you need to funnel them correctly into the base. So the idea, like the thinking behind the troop, is basically the same. But let's talk about what do you guys need for the CCs. For the Pekka Smash, I would recommend a Slammer with Rage and Loons. That's my personal favorite. You can use the Slammer at the back end. You can haste the Loons with your haste and freeze multi-inferno towers as well, which makes it really easy to triple pretty much any base. The Electron, you use the Slammer in combination with the Rage, 2 Loons, and an Electro Dragon. If you're Town 11, then obviously just 1 Loon and an Electro Dragon, but except they're pretty much the same. This is the army. It's kind of basic, like it's not too much around, just straightforward, and like I said, my personal favorite of those 3. The next one is the Mass Miner. This one is really elixir heavy. Like if you compare the numbers over here, you guys can see each army is not only different strong and for different type of bases, but as well they're representing different type of farming. Which means if you're going for a lot of heroes, like you want to level up your heroes as fast as possible, then I would recommend the miners for you guys, because you can see it's only around about 500 Dark Elixir for each army. Meanwhile, we have more than 3, we have 3 times of the Dark Elixir at the Electron or even at the Pekka Smash, which makes it kind of expensive. At the same time, you see in Electron that it's kind of balanced. Like it's not too expensive in Dark Elixir, it's not too expensive in Elixir, which means it's a kind of balanced army. If you just want to farm all around, you don't really prefer something special like Elixir or Dark Elixir. It's just well-rounded army when it comes down to the costs, and well, at the same time it's really strong. Meanwhile, we have Pekka Smash, which is kind of expensive on every single side, which makes it not as effective as Farming Troop. But at the same time, if you want to triple other bases as well, if you want to have the nice effect of being able to actually triple a lot of bases, then Pekka Smash is really nice as well for this. I hope you guys like this episode. I hope you guys might use one of my armies I showed you guys today, and I will show you guys really soon the next video on how to attack when your queen is under construction.